I think there is something missing from memory techniques because it seems like a lot of people like the idea of using memory technique, to memorize all sorts of things, but they never actually get started or start using it on a consistent basis. And I've made so much content over the years, hundreds of videos, podcasts, blog posts, even a training site, which is recently new. And so there's so much stuff I'm trying to create, but it seems like there's not enough buzz about it or not enough people going through the material or using the site, whatever it may be. And I think that that's because something's missing when it comes to people wanting to improve their memory. Now, I come from a memory competition, okay, background where I like training, pushing my mind, memorizing numbers, names, whatever it may be. I like pushing my mind and seeing how much I can memorize. Because when it comes to physical shape, I love pushing myself. Try to run 100 miles, try to do thousands upon thousands of push-ups, and whatever it may be. I like doing that stuff that many may consider tedious. And I think that's the problem right there. When it comes to memory training, I kind of think about memory competition training, even though memory training kind of envelops everything, right? But for me, memory training, oh yeah, it's memory competition. Memorize names, cards, words, binary, whatever it may be. And so a lot of people probably don't care about that kind of training. But what's mostly out there for memory training? It's memory competition stuff. You're trying to memorize names and trying to increase your level. And so people who want to improve their memory just for general things really don't care about a lot of memory competition training, right? And so I'm trying to think, is there a way to make things more interactive then for people who just want to learn how to improve their memory? If it's memorizing definitions, if it's memorizing information in a book, a language, whatever it may be, is there more ways to make interactive content? If it is like having a training site, but for memory improvement for the general public, okay? For people who want to get better at memorizing or learning a language, learning book content, learning definitions. So I made a video, I think a podcast too, about a word exercise where you're given words and you create images for those words. You're not memorizing the words, you're making images, but then from your images, you're trying to see if you can recall the original word. So that's an exercise that's very fantastic for anyone, memory competition or not. And even something like that has kind of a memory competition aspect where you might have different leveling systems, right? And so you might have to level up after you get 10 words, you create 10 images, and you manage to get 8 out of 10. The next time you do it, you might get 15 words, and you have to get at least 13 out of 15 to move up to the next level. You're not memorizing anything. You're just practicing creating images and then getting the original information, right? In this case, the word back from your image. And so that sounds really cool. And that would have its own site because right now, if I give you an exercise, usually I include a link. And then the link might have the information, right? But then for you to actually do the exercise, you have to set it up yourself. So in this example I just gave you, I believe I gave you a link to a random word generator. So you would have to get those words, copy them into a document, and then write down your images, and then cover up the words, and then recall the words, and then have everything uncovered and match them up, right? The word that you saw originally, the word you thought your image represented. So that's a lot of work. Now, it's not like you're building a pyramid or anything, but there's a lot more work involved just to do that simple exercise. And so that's what I think is missing for most people when it comes to practicing. That there's so much extra work that they have to do. But for me, if I want to start memorizing names, I could just go to my training site I created, and then memorize some names. Right? That's it. And so everything's already done. It auto scores it and all that great stuff. And so people who want to just improve their memory, they want to have the same thing. And I'm going through my memory project of learning how to code. Still a lot to learn. But I truly think once I get done and know how to do more complex websites, more complex coding, I can actually start making these things. Like that memory exercise I just explained about creating the images for the words, having that as like a training is absolutely cool. I think it's awesome because I want to see how far I can push my memory in that. How many words can I get? How fast can I create images in a given amount of time? And then can I recall my words from those images? That's what's really exciting me. It's like super cool. I love the idea. And so that's something I would be able to do once I get enough coding under my belt. But what do you think? Let me know. Leave me comments, send me messages, emails, whatever it is. Let me know what you would want in order for memory techniques to be more interactive, not in a memory competition style, but just a general thing. You want to learn how to improve your memory. There's someone left me a comment. I believe his name was Kyle, and I will get back to him and make a piece of content answering his question. But he was asking about how do you memorize 5,000 flashcards? And so I'm still trying to figure out exactly what information are going to be on these flashcards, how complex and all that. But you know, 5,000 flashcards, that's a lot to memorize. Well, if there's some interactive thing you could do to start practicing kind of flashcard memorization, that's something so many people do. They create flashcards. And so having an exercise that caters to that would help a lot of people. And so that is what I'm trying to think of. Usually when it comes to my content, for the most part, I try to get straight to the point. Sometimes I go off on a tangent, but I try to get to the heart of the stuff, of the comments, of the idea, of the suggestion, whatever it is, because I want to help you learn to improve your memory and get to where you want to go. But my videos, podcasts, they're not so super complex. I'm not doing all these crazy animation type things because that's outside my wheelhouse. I try to provide content that answers questions and helps you get to the core that's going to help you improve and get you to where you want to start memorizing books, languages, competition, whatever. That's what I'm trying to do. So they might not have the most flair, the different content pieces I make, but I have made hundreds upon hundreds trying to help people. And so, please let me know anything that you have questions on, that you want guidance on, and I'll try my best to make content to help you get there. But I think this interactiveness with memory techniques is going to hold the key. Because yes, memory competition, it's very easy to have the interactiveness, right? Because at these competitions, you're memorizing this specific information. So if you have a program where you're memorizing that specific information, you're training, very obvious, very straightforward. But in the useful realm of things, languages, books, coding, how do you have training for that? How do you have interactive stuff for that beyond a flashcard, beyond reviewing? And so I just want to, make this specific piece of content to kind of put it out there. Hopefully, you give me some ideas. Hopefully I can start thinking of more things, but I really do think coding is going to be the key for me, at least, to make something that's more interactive for the general public and not specifically for memory competition. But you do have to realize when it comes to memory competition, those principles, those core principles apply to everything. Okay? Not just names, not just binary, not just echo pick. It applies to everything. I've learned and used the ideas from memory competition to learn Spanish more easily, to start learning Japanese, to learn how to code. Those basic principles are the same across everything. But most people don't want to memorize decimals, don't want to memorize binary because they have to create their own system, right? So there's a lot of other work you have to do to start doing some of these specific memory events. But I do want to get to the point where there's things like training things for everyone and that anyone can start training and being more interactive with their training instead of just kind of doing things like on a piece of paper, Google Docs, whatever it may be. Because you have to realize this. This is my goal. My goal is just to create content, create sites that help people improve the memory. That is my goal. That's the reason I made so much content because I just want to help people improve their memory.